Hi everyone, my name's Chris Clouston, and I'm back with another episode of Cluestone Discussing the Music, in which I will be discussing the tracks off my EP There's a First Time for Everything, from my studio solo project Cluestone. And for the last few weeks I've just been going over each track, track by track as it appears on the EP. So this is episode 3, so I'll be going over the song How Do You Know I Care? So the first two tracks of the EP kind of followed a similar genre and style. They were both quite pop punk, kind of upbeat songs, whereas the second two I would say are more kind of alt rock, indie kind of stuff, and little bit more complicated compositionally speaking than the first two. So this and the next one might be a wee bit longer than the first two, but yeah, if you're new here, you can check out the EP before you watch this. That's on all the major streaming services. And yeah, let's get started. I hope you enjoy. So, How Do You Know I Care was written back in 2020, towards the end of 2020, I believe. So, this and the next song I'll be discussing, Senseless World, are the two older songs. I wrote them both in 2020, and so my memory might be a little bit fuzzy in terms of trying to remember specifics on how I went about writing them, but I'm going to do my best to try and be as detailed as I can. I'm pretty sure the first thing I wrote for this song was the main riff in the verse. You know, the da 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 da. I wrote that because I remember I was just kind of jamming on guitar, you know, just kind of coming up with ideas and stuff, and yeah, I just kind of came up with that riff, and to this day it's still one of my favourites. I really like it, and I've been told it gets stuck in a lot of people's heads, so that's always a plus. That's always what you want to aim for. I'm a big fan of alternate, like downpick kind of eighth note kind of riffs, that kind of follow the chord progression or something like that. You know, I've always enjoyed bands like Interpol where they do that quite a lot, and a lot of like indie bands in the early 2000s, quite common. But I've always enjoyed that sound. I always feel like that kind of straight kind of pattern, like combined with a kind of straight drum beat kind of thing, feel like I've always enjoyed it. It's quite simple, but I've always thought it's quite cool. So I wrote something like that. Like I can't remember if I wrote that first or the melodic line in the chorus first, but either or, I think I wrote the alternate picked kind of, well, I think I downpicked it, but like the eighth notes. I think I wrote that first, and then I jammed the kind of melodic line over that. And I remember thinking once I had that all together, I was like, this is the chorus. This is like absolutely, like I really liked that wee melodic kind of line I had going. So yeah, I thought that was definitely a chorus. After that, I knew I wanted a solo section in it. I felt like this kind of alt-rocky song, I felt like it was definitely screaming for like a kind of instrumental section, kind of solo kind of thing. So what I did was I took like the eighth note kind of style, and I changed the notes slightly kind of thing, and I just jammed over that over and over. I just had that looping until I kind of had something. And when I write solos or melodic lines, a lot of time what I'll do is I'll get like my guitar sound. I'll like mess around with the guitar sound and add loads of effects and different stuff just to kind of get a feel for something. So I'm a big fan of reverb, chorus, delays, stuff like that, and I'll just add stuff and just, you know, tweak it and just see how it sounds. And a lot of the time that will dictate what kind of solo or melodic line I'm going to write. So for example, this solo that I do in How Do You Know I Care is, I would say, quite simple, you know, like quite pentatonic-y, kind of, you know, not really crazy by any stretch of the imagination, but I felt like with the amount of effects I had, like you can go back and listen and like you can hear that it's brimming with like delay and reverb, you know, and I wanted the solo to kind of give space to those effects so that you can like kind of hear the effects, and it's like, soak it in kind of thing. So it's like appreciate it, and solos don't always have to be shredding and sweep picking and tapping and stuff. You can have just nice, like long sustained notes and stuff like that. Solos don't need to be crazy to be really good. Some of the best solos are really nice and well thought out. I'm not saying this is one of the best solos ever, but like I do enjoy it. One major change I had from the original demo to the finished product was that the intro, which I took the guitar riff from the chorus and put that into the intro, originally had a synthesizer over the top of it. It was like a kind of modular synth kind of thing. And I knew in my head what I wanted it to sound like. Like, I don't know if any of you play instruments, you'll know what I'm talking about when you can hear something in your head, but you just can't replicate it. You'll just tear your hair out trying to figure out what it is you're trying to get, and that's what I had with this bloody synthesizer. I just could not get it. Like, I was trying all these different synths I had on Logic. I have like a mini synthesizer. I was trying it out and that. I was trying presets. I was trying to make my own sounds. I just could not get it, and it really annoyed me. So obviously on the actual track there is no synth, it's just the guitars, which I think, in all honesty, probably works better. I think I quite like that kind of, starts off quite mellow kind of thing and then right into it kind of thing. So probably for the best, but I wish I don't know if I could remember what I heard back then now, but so a part of me wishes I could remember that. I remember thinking that at this point I had the music pretty much done, but I remember thinking it was just missing something. It was just a little bit, and I kind of decided I was going to add like an instrumental interlude kind of bit. So I already had the solo later on in the song, but I thought like there was space after the first chorus and between the second verse just for a little something. And by this point I was very much going in the Strokes direction. I was like, I'd written that main riff and I was like, that sounds like the Strokes, so kind of leaned into that. And obviously it doesn't sound exactly like the Strokes, but I feel, very unashamedly like the influences there. So that kind of lead guitar line kind of thing, very much based on the Strokes. The lyrics and the vocal melody drove me mad trying to come up with for this song. I'm not great with lyrics. A kind of confession is that I don't tend to listen to lyrics much in songs. For me, it's mostly about the music. I appreciate good singers, obviously, but lyrics, a lot of the time, it's just something I don't subconsciously listen to. When I listen to music, I tend to turn my brain on to kind of autopilot kind of thing, and I'll listen to all the instruments and the voice and how they all work together and stuff. But then a lot of the time, I won't know what's going on lyrically kind of thing. And for that reason, I struggle quite a lot with the lyrics, I feel, because I don't have that kind of sense of what makes good lyrics and stuff. Like, I know what I like in lyrics, but, it's a bit hard for me. So when I'm writing lyrics, normally what I'll do first, not everyone does the same, everyone has their different style of writing lyrics and vocal melodies and stuff like that. But when I write lyrics, I'll start with a vocal melody. So generally I'll do it on guitar. I'll write a melody on guitar and then I'll write lyrics to that melody. But I didn't do that with this song. This song I kind of came up with it. So what I did was I was really struggling. I couldn't think of a melody. I couldn't it just wasn't jumping at me because of that weird rhythm in the riff, for the verse. So what I did was I got a stroke song and looked at the lyrics and basically sang the lyrics to my song. I didn't sing the Strokes melody. I just took the words, the syllables, and just kind of forced something, I just kind of and I just kind of came out with what's on there. So it was kind of it was cool in the sense of like, you know, I got a sense of like syllables to use and stuff like that, and like maybe like there wasn't enough syllables in one line, so I kind of took from another and like went about it that way. So then after that, I took all of the Strokes lyrics away, so none of them appear on the actual song, and I then wrote my own lyrics, and then that's a whole other thing. So I didn't have an idea of what the song was going to be about. I didn't have subject matter. The working title was The Interpol because of the eighth notes kind of thing, you know, in the band Interpol. So I didn't know what the song was going to be about. I didn't have like a clue. And I just started writing. Like the song kind of formed itself lyrically. And before I knew it, I kind of had the song written. And because of that, I remember Toya, who appeared on the first two songs on the EP. I remember she asked me once. She was like, "What's this? What's How Do You Know I Care About?" I was like, I have no idea. You know, I hadn't really thought about it. Like after I wrote it back in like 2020, I didn't really think about the lyrics again after that. And yeah, it's interesting because it's the kind of thing where it's like I like to write lyrics that can be interpreted by different people and they get different things out of it. Not saying I'm a genius lyricist by any stretch of the imagination, and I think there's only so many ways you could interpret this song, but I found it interesting that I kind of went back and like researched my own song. It was something I wrote, but I was like, what is this song about? What was I thinking, you know? And so yeah, the song, my interpretation anyway, is about someone who is like unappreciated, feels unappreciated, feels unnoticed, feels alone, and the narrator, so me in this case, does care about them, does and wants them to know that they aren't unappreciated, that they are loved, that they do, that the narrator does care about them. Hence the song "How Do You Know I Care," and I feel like that's something that we can all, you know, relate to at some point in our lives on both accounts. Like I'm sure we all have those moments where we feel unappreciated, alone, all that kind of stuff, and that, you know, the flip that we have people in our lives that think that, and it's like, you know, you just want to fucking give them a good shake to like make them, you know, realize that they aren't alone and they that you do care for them. Yeah, I think it's something that we all go through at some point. I had a lot of hassle singing this song. I'm not a strong vocalist, as you have all heard, and I don't consider myself a vocalist. I certainly try my best, but that's why a lot of the time I get other people to sing my songs. And yeah, this one I had a lot of hassle with, and I remember. So originally it was in another key. The original key was D, I think, and I the choruses were fine. Like I could sing that fine, although it was, you know, long phrases, so quite hard. Like you had like a second to breathe and then you were back on it, kind of thing. So that was difficult. But other than that, like in terms of like pitch and stuff, like no problem. But the verses I really struggled with, because it was like quite low for me. So I kind of struggled to kind of get like articulation and kind of like power behind it. So when it came to recording this EP and I wanted to write, you know, record this song for it, I did it in the original key the original demo was in, and when it came to the vocals, I just struggled again. I was like, I just can't get this like sounding good enough, kind of thing. So I made the decision to change the key, but I already had the whole song recorded, so I had to re-record the whole thing in a new key, which is F, I think. And yeah, so that was much better. For the verses, I was in a much more comfortable kind of key. Like, you know, I had a lot. It was a lot more comfortable. The chorus, I would say, wasn't as comfortable as I was before, but like it was a good middle ground, you know, like it's that kind of thing where happy with I was happy with both of them kind of thing. So but even then, like even with being more comfortable, I did so many takes. Like I'm a terrible vocalist. I was really, and it's that kind of thing as well, because I mixed my own EP. I had to hear myself, and like, you know, so many times I'd be mixing it and I would be like, I can't tell if I am just a bad vocalist or like I'm doing fine and it's just me hearing my own voice, because everyone hates their own voice. It was a right struggle. So but we got there in the end. I think it could be better, but I don't think I could do much better. Not at this point anyway. Maybe somewhere down the road, maybe when I become a better singer. But no, I'm happy enough with it. With the end product anyway. And thank you very much for watching. That's been another episode of Cluestone discussing the music. I hope you found this informative. As I kind of said earlier, it's ran on a little bit longer, but there was more to talk about, I think, in this one. It's a bit more complex than the first two, and same with the next song as well. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I'll be releasing the next episode next Friday, which will be Senseless Worlds, and then after that I'm going to be doing an overview. So I'll be doing like the kind of discussing the EP as a whole, and like the kind of approaches I took to the production side of it, like the mixing and mastering, and any other details I kind of missed out in any of these other videos. I'm going to go back through them, and if there's anything I can think of, I'm going to pop them in there. So if there's any comments you want to make about these videos, any information that you want to know that I haven't went over, or anything you'd like a bit more detail on, then please leave a comment below, and I will go through them, and I'll make sure to include them in the overview video. So but yeah, that's everything, I think. So thank you again for watching, and I will see you all next week. So bye.